Yes, what's going on? Simon here. I'm just in one of my HMOs and I own this one. But what I thought would be really cool is to do a video on the 3 scenarios where somebody like me, an owner of a HMO, would consider renting their property. Because I know what you're thinking. Why would this professional, esteemed, high quality, high end HMO landlord rent their property to you? Surely they want to make all the money. Surely they want to do it. And you'd be right in many cases, but not all, okay? So the first thing that I want to say before I get into the 3 scenarios that will work is what absolutely won't work is an all singing, all dancing, en-suite property, which is absolutely beautiful, where the landlord has just spent £120,000 on a refurb. Why? Because they're going to want to milk the cow. They're going to want to milk the cow that they've worked hard for. In other words, they want all the cream, so there's no cream for you. So you do not want to go for those professional, high quality landlords like me. Don't come to me, man. I ain't rent. I get a lot of people hit me up trying to rent. They're rent to me. I'm like, bro, I'm the king of rent. If anybody's going to be renting a property, it's going to be me. But all jokes aside though, these are the 3 scenarios where you can be of service to a rent landlord. Number 1, okay, landlords who are tired. These are people that have been doing this for 30 years and they're now just sick. They don't want to be handling multiple properties with multiple rooms. They're not interested. They want to wind down. And not only will the landlord likely be tired in this scenario, but the properties will also be tired and they won't want to do the work. So target properties that seem a little bit more tired. You'll probably find the landlord would be equally tired and they would be open to you doing a cosmetic refurb and you just guaranteeing their rent every month so they don't need to worry. The second type of landlord where I think rent to HMO works really well is those that are struggling with management or voids. So check this out. Let's say you've got a 5-bed HMO like this one and the mortgage is, let's say, £750, okay? Let's say the mortgage is £750 and let's say the bills cost £500. My costs are £1,250. Now, if I rent each room for £500 and I've got 3 rooms empty, I'm now losing £250, okay? 2 rooms times 500 is 1,000, but my costs are £1,250, which means I'm losing money. Let's say we rent room 3, I'm now making £250, but then the person from room 1 leaves and now I'm losing again. So if you went to that landlord, hey, do you know what? Your costs are £1,250. I'll pay you £1,600 and guarantee that rent every month. All of a sudden, rather than me losing money or being up and down, I'm getting the money every single month. And that can be beneficial to the right kind of landlord. But top tip, what you don't do is go round to HMO landlords offering them £1,600 or below market value. What you do is you say, hey, if I was to guarantee your rent, take on the whole property, what would be the best that you could do? And then let them say 1,800, and then you can say, would there be any way you could do 1,600? And if the answer is yes, then you can do the figures to see if it works for you. And last but not least, scenario number 3, where I think rent to HMO works really well, is with standard residential, like landlords that actually will happily rent the entire property to you for market rent, and then you can then convert it into a HMO. Often overlooked. A lot of people say, oh no, focus on existing HMOs because it's easier, and you'd be right. However, if you focus on non-HMOs in non-Article 4 areas and build with the right landlords, you can convert them into HMOs or sometimes minimos that won't even need a license. And that can be a great angle, because if I'm a landlord of a 5-bed property, I might want £2,500 rent. But if I was renting this property to a family, I might only need 800. So you've only got to convert them on the concept of HMO, not on the rent, because you could even pay them £200 more than they would get as a single let. And that is what I call a win-win. So yeah, that's it. I hope you found that useful. You've got to find the right landlords for HMO to work. If you didn't know this, I am the founder of Rent to Rent 2.0, which is the hybrid. That means I do rent to SA and rent to HMO, because that's the perfect balance. You get the recurring income, but you also get the big lumps of cash, and you protect yourself against occupancy rates or changes in legislation because you've split your bet. If that sounds good, you're on the right channel. Hit the subscribe button. I'd love to hear from you. DM me on Instagram, man. I respond personally to all my messages, and I'll see you in the next video.